What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Emma Roberts' answer when she's asked about horror movies she'd like to return in, and she says Scream, and I saw this immediately as I think Discussing Film posted it, and this interviewer for Dread Central, that's the site that was doing the interview, he actually answered, or he responded to her answer about as perfectly, and I felt like I would almost do exactly the same thing if I was in his situation. So he basically asks her, what would be, he said you slayed or whatever as Jill in Scream 4. What horror franchise would you, if you had to pick, what would you do? And she doesn't know, and she asks, can you give me options? And he says, Friday the 13th, Pinhead, etc., etc. And she says, I'd maybe go back to Scream. Maybe I'd go back to Scream. I feel like I wasn't done with Scream. And then he was about to say something, and he looks to the side, and he's like, that's an interesting answer. And then she laughs. And here's the thing. I don't think she meant anything massive behind it. All right. Now, obviously, I think the first question that's going to pop up when they see my video, they see the interview, they see Discussing Film, whatever, the first question they would probably ask is, well, did she mean it in a way of a hint or not a hint? Was she just saying it to say it, or was it saying as some sort of hint? I can't imagine they bring her back for 6. Like, I just don't see that happening. At the same time, crazier things have happened, and following the legacy of, I guess, what Wes Craven kind of wanted, right? So, like, he assumed Kirby lived. Kevin Williamson assumed Kirby died. Now, Kevin Williamson was the person behind the script. It was Wes Craven's, vision of what it would look like and all that stuff, but it's funny to me that basically you have a divide of those creative, visionaries, really, and you have a divide of, well, did Kirby live or did Kirby die? And it seems like, obviously, Radio Silence went with the she lived approach, right? Now, Jill, for people that I guess probably just saw Scream 4 and don't know any of the behind-the-scenes stuff or anything like that, you're maybe thinking, I don't think there's anybody here that's like that, but I would assume people like on Twitter would be like, well, she died. Well, she did, I guess, but at the same time, it was purposeful that she wasn't done anything in the head. Now, the original version of Scream 4 wasn't even going to end like that. It was going to be completely different. But even the version they ended with, she got, zapped, and then she got shot through the chest. But that was it. That was how she died. And again, like, if you ask me right now, is Jill dead? I would say yes. Like, it's a stew kind of thing, right? To a different degree. But at the same time, you have the original vision being that Jill would actually come back. Jill would have been the killer in 5, and just nobody would actually know that she did that, right? So that was the original goal. And then even you do have, the ending of the actual movie we got, there is no shot to the head, right? Every single killer actually gets shot in the head, right? Just to kind of double, make sure that they're gone. But Jill doesn't. So Jill is the only one like that. So is it possible that Emma Roberts could one day come back? Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, is she saying it as a hint? I don't think she is. But is she saying it as just... Now, what's interesting about her saying it, when she says, I feel like I wasn't done with Scream, I do think that is a subtle little jab where only if you know. Which, again, like, the interviewer was like, oh, that's an interesting answer. But I feel like if you know what she's talking about, or if you know the behind-the-scenes stuff, that line, that quote from her, means something, right? It means something different than it would mean, again, if you just hear that and you don't know, you'd be like, well, you feel like you weren't done, like you died. But if you do know, and it's like, man, did Wes talk to you and say, hey, here's the... And honestly, I'd imagine, yes, that is probably, if I were to predict, that is probably what happened, or what she's referring to, is she was maybe told around the time of Scream 4, right as Scream 4 came out, hey, we're not done with you. Yes, you got shot, but the plan maybe is for you to come back. But it wasn't like promised, it wasn't guaranteed, and then it never happened. And so that line, and again, this is just my theory. It's a theory. My theory would be that she was told that a long time ago. I don't think anything recently whatsoever, but a long time ago she was told that, and that's kind of what she was referring to, where she's like, well, I didn't actually think I was done. Wink, wink, I was told I was actually going to come back, but I never came back, so I never really finished what I was supposed to, I never finished what I started. That's how I kind of read into it, right? So again, does it make sense for her to return in 6? No. No, it actually really doesn't. Would it be cool? I guess to a degree it would be cool, but it would be, again, the same discussions we've had about Stu. Does it make sense? Would it work? Do people even know who this character is? How do you interject that into now Sam and Tara? Like, yes, Kirby is coming back, so I guess that opens the door for Jill, but at the same time, it's not Kirby's story anymore. Technically, it never really was, right? Actually, it was Jill's story, and then that was taken from her, and then it became now, Sam and Tara. But who knows? Maybe if Kirby is a big enough role, or maybe they're setting up something crazy for like a Scream 7. Who knows? I mean, if they could go absolutely wild and like bring Jill and Stu back in the same movie, like for 7, just bring back characters that are questionably dead, but they probably are dead, and we're just gonna kind of roll the dice. I mean, do I think that's gonna happen? No, but do I think it's a possibility, like a 0.0001% chance? Sure I do. So let me know what you think. Let me know, how you read that answer from her. Again, I read it as I'm not hinting at anything, but there is some kind of prior knowledge I'm tapping into. That's how I think she meant it, but you let me know. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on so you know when all these videos go up, and I hope to see you all on the next video.